Hello, Scorpio. This is what you can do for your mental health for the week of the 7th through the 13th, like last time in no particular order. So let's start with the Chariot. The Chariot talks about your willpower. It talks about combining your conscious and your unconscious with the guidance of your spirit, your soul, your higher self, your higher knowledge, that inner knowledge, in order to move forwards in your life. And you're going within to find that path, to find that light that helps you move forwards. The Queen of Wands, this talks about connecting to yourself, reconnecting on a level that brings up your strength, that brings up your creativity, your passion for life again. And the Magician talks about having this knowledge of how to balance everything, how to balance your thinking, both good and bad thoughts, the conscious and the unconscious, your emotions with your physical body and health, with your spiritual health. So you're really looking at, and when the Magician has everything in balance, he's using it to start a new path, to open a new doorway. So you're really looking at when you reconnect and you go within and you pull that strength up from deep within yourself, this is what's going to help you guide yourself in life and find your path in life with that Chariot. Then we have the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords, this talks about focusing on your thinking, learning about why you're thinking the way you do, how you think the way you do. Very meta in regards to your thinking, but pages can also be messengers. So when you're learning this stuff, you could suddenly get this aha moment, or you could even get an actual message from somebody outside of yourself. Now we have a bunch of clarifiers. We have the Six of Cups, the Moon, the Queen of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, and the Three of Cups. Okay, the key here is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, I think. Because the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, this is talking about perfectionism and how that creates frustration for you, how that creates setbacks and obsessions. It talks about, unrealized goals or any envy and jealousy that you might have of the people around you. It can also talk about, when it talks about perfectionism, that is almost like busyness for the sake of being busy. So like misdirected activity. And it's an obsession, right? So it's very negative, and you have to look at, why do you want to be perfect? If it's because you're envious and jealous of people around you, or that you're like in the wrong job, or you're feeling limited by your job, then you have to start looking around, like, why is this the case? What can I do to change this? And especially when that's affecting your mental health. So the Six of Cups, this talks about joy here. It also talks about childhood and being able to be present in the moment that you're in, and not worrying about the past or the future, and thinking about, the things that bring you joy and having gratitude for them. The Moon is another card of learning and illumination, just like the Page of Swords there. It's talking about finding your path in between two difficult things, but on more solid ground emotionally, right? Queen of Cups, this talks about using your intuition to heal yourself. It talks about self-love. It talks about how that intuition to heal yourself around this situation with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse how can you do that? You're thinking about it, you're working on it. Three of Cups, this talks about community. It talks about collaboration. To me, it's more about community today. It can also talk about a celebration, but this is more about the community you're building around yourself, and whether or not they're helping you achieve your success, or they're holding you back because they're contributing to that fear or that jealousy or that envy, that negative circumstance. The community could be having an effect on you, and you really need to look deeply into why that is. Is it something that happened in your past that, even though that situation in the past is over, you're still carrying the thought patterns and the behavior patterns from that situation into the present? Like if you were never, I'll give an example. Say in your childhood, you were never good enough for your parent, right? You weren't enough. They called you all sorts of names. They said you had to be perfectionist, otherwise you couldn't please them. You had to do everything just right, or you would get called names and beaten. And in the present time, if you haven't done the deep shadow work, if you haven't done the self-healing and the self-care to love yourself, you haven't found that path out of that emotional and mental trauma and anguish, then you could be repeating those mistakes and thinking, oh, my community, my coworkers, my lover, my significant other, whoever it is, my friends, they're not going to accept me unless I'm absolutely perfect, unless I've done everything this certain way, this particular way, unless I look a particular way, think a particular way, behave a particular way, they're not going to accept me. So that's just one example of how this Page of Swords could be playing out for you this week. So really focus on, so sorry about that. So really focus on that, learning about the cycles of how you think, learning about yourself, learning about your thought patterns. Now then we have Queen of Swords, and we actually have her twice, two different situations. So Queen of Swords, this talks about being unbiased in your thinking. She sits very high up, and she has that unbiased thinking because she has that higher perspective, that higher viewpoint. She has the power to see opportunities. She is organized. She is unbiased. She's very straightforward and direct, and she sets clear boundaries because she sees stuff the way that it is. She can almost be somewhat ruthless in setting those boundaries and making sure that she has time for herself, making sure that she is not being attacked, that she is not feeling stressed or anxious. So really this is talking about getting this higher perspective for your life, because we have the King of Wands, and the King of Wands talks about the vision that you have for yourself. And he takes leadership because he's a father figure, he's a king, so he's the leader. He's taking ownership of the path that he wants to go on. Sometimes this talks about entrepreneurship, but to me, so like if you were trying to break away from your job because you're feeling like, you've got this perspective that it's not right for you, that could be this King of Wands, but to me it's more about your overall vision for your life, and you're taking stock of it, as many people are this time of year. And we have the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords talks about choosing between this crossroads, choosing the path that's going to lead you to peace of mind and not to something negative. So when you're looking at this Two of Swords, you see that she's blindfolded. She's naked, so she's vulnerable, but she's also covered up by the red of her passion. She's sitting on the ground, but everything around her, there's a lighter colored path and a darker colored path, right? So everything around her is sort of, it's telling her which path to take, but she's not seeing it because she's got that blindfold on. And when you're looking at your vision for your life and for your healing, how you're going to move forward, this Queen of Swords is telling you to be unbiased, to take the blindfold off, to really take a deep look at what the facts are, to be analytical about it, to put your emotions aside and really analyze the situation. Now then, Queen of Cups. Where was Queen of Cups before? She was with the Chariot, or not the Chariot. She was with the Page of Swords before. So thinking about that, but here we have her in the reverse. Okay. So the example I gave about perfectionism and stuff, that's what she was in. So here we have the Queen of Cups in reverse, and this talks about, well, it can talk about being distant, like Queen of Swords can talk about being distant in the reverse. It can talk about insecurity and codependence, depression due to being unable to face an emotional wound. So this emotional wound that has to do with community, or that has to do with celebration or the past, that's what this is talking about. And then we have here as clarifiers the Four of Cups, the Three of Wands, the King of Swords, and the Queen of Swords again, but in reverse. So this Four of Cups is talking about a stagnant period where you're dreaming about this potential, this possibility, and you're figuring out how to face this deep wound that you have and continue to expand and grow. You're trying to find that path that the King of Wands is talking about when he's talking about the vision for your life. The Three of Wands is talking about finding that path, looking for that path for growth and expansion. And you're dreaming about it, the path out of this insecurity, out of this codependence, out of this being distant from yourself, from your body, being distant and dishonest with yourself about this situation, about this wound and the depression that it's causing you. Now, King of Swords, he looks at the situation, he thinks deeply about it before he starts taking his action. And the Queen of Swords in reverse, like I said, this can talk about being distant. like not just distant from other people. Like both of these queens in the reverse talk about that, but you could even be distant from yourself. This can also talk about being overly emotional and being influenced too easily by other people, and influenced in a bad way, like influenced to do stuff that's not healthy for you, stuff that's not right, and you know it's not right, but you're letting your emotions, you're letting that need to people please get in the way, and it's getting in the way of your growth and your expansion, your long-term ability to move forwards, your long-term vision for yourself. It's getting in the way when you let other people decide. So when you've got this Four of Cups and you're thinking about these possibilities to reconnect, to face your emotional wounds, your emotional scars, and heal, why is it? Why is it that you can't connect to yourself? What is stopping you? What is blocking you? Why is it that you can't find the path that you want to go on for the long term? That's kind of what you need to focus on, and you need to look at it, from this perspective that is really like mind over heart. It's really about not giving into those negative emotions, not giving into that overwhelming feeling. Yeah, really look at it from that higher perspective, from that unbiased perspective. The emotional perspective is not, there's nothing wrong with emotions, and we can't repress them because that's not healthy. But you could also be looking at the situation from too much emotion, from too much overwhelm with those emotions. And this is saying, look at it from a deeper mentality rather than a deeper emotionality. And you might have to cut some people out. You might have to cut some things out of your life. You might have to set boundaries with that and take on that role of leadership in your own life. And just, you might have to get your hands dirty, so to speak. Have a great week. I hope this was helpful to you. Bye.